Lovely computer noises. Welcome to the Nissan Ariya. This is Nissan's latest and greatest all-electric thing. Of course, it's a CUV. Before this, they've done the Leaf, and now this is their work on the background of what they learned while doing the Leaf, and now they're going to make an all-electric CUV. Brand new platform, brand new thing for them, and here it is. This is the all-everything only spec'd for journalist model. So that means this is the 389 horsepower dual motor all-wheel drive. It's called the Platinum Plus E-Force. That is the number 4 followed by Orse. E-Force. Yay! So that means this is everything you can get for this. That also means this costs nearly $63,000, which is kind of crazy to think about. You can get these as cheap as about $45,000. This is, of course, the loaded press fleet model, so it is all the bells and whistles, the everything, and quite expensive. There are modes in this. I am in E-step mode right now, which essentially is their terminology for one-pedal driving. If I take my foot off the accelerator right now, it will instantly start dropping like a partial pedal press on the brake, but of course it's just doing it by one pedal driving. When you do that, it does illuminate the rear brake lights. We have seen that. It instantly illuminates the brake lights, and it seems like you're slowing down to all the other cars. All you did was lift your foot. I'm not saying that Nissan invented this by any means. I'm just saying that is their terminology, E-step, for making that happen. This also has what they call their Pro Pilot, which is essentially all of their sensory features of telling where other things are in traffic. But you can even get their Pro Pilot Plus or Pro Pilot 2, I'm sorry, I forget the actual name, where you can do hands-free driving in this. It is fully hands-free driving, but the car monitors your eyes to make sure you are paying attention, which makes me just say drive it yourself. But anyway, they are working on hands-free driving for this Nissan Ariya, and it is available in the suite of various things here. Look, I'm not even touching a pedal and we're braking not quite enough for the light, so let's actually help it some. Like every electric car you can think of, this has instant torque, and actually that makes it feel pretty fast off the line. Now, if you get the front-wheel drive, lower-level models, 0 to 60 is in the 7 range, which isn't really all that impressive for an electric car. This one is down in the 5s, which is competitive, but not a standout in that regard either. Now, I want you to hear one very key thing about this car, and I do mean here. This has drive modes. I'm in the standard drive mode. I'm going to reach down here into this haptic area in the middle that has the drive mode switches, and I'm going to change it up to Sport. Now, the reason I want you to listen is because Sport has a noise that is connected to the accelerator pedal that is, for lack of a better way to put it, kind of a digital engine noise. That whirring, whistling sound you're hearing is their digital engine noise, and honestly, it's fairly loud and pretty distracting. You can, of course, get used to it, but it's a surprising noise for them to have added here that takes quite a bit of getting used to, and it's pretty forward in the cabin. Handling wise, this is acceptable, and if actually I go down into standard mode, I think it rides pretty well. It actually does a good job of soaking up the bumps. It obviously is significantly quieter in standard mode, and it rides decently. It deals with its nearly 5,000 pounds worth of weight pretty well. Now, of course, the battery's in the floor. That creates a lower center of gravity, but this is a tall car on tall wheels, and as a result, it does feel like you're pretty high. Now, in a CUV world, that's what we're all shopping for, so we want to be way high up and have good visibility. This does have excellent visibility. It does give you that kind of commanding ride height that is one of the big selling points of CUVs. But the downside is, in corners, you feel top heavy, even though you can tell the weight is low, but the car feels big, and the car feels like it leans over quite a bit, and that's because, well, it is tall. Turn off the E-step mode, and now it coasts like a normal car when you lift off the accelerator. It just coasts like any automatic you've been in. Since that is kind of my subconscious default setting, I do prefer that. I prefer engaging the brakes myself, but if you're used to what an electric car does, or you want that one-pedal driving feel, that E-step does work well. Another thing they have down here is the auto park feature. This actually does have a feature in it where you can get out and it will park itself. If you're in a space that's that tight, that just seems like find another space to me, but it is something that it will do. Cabin space in here is good. Back seat has quite a bit of legroom. In fact, Nissan was working very hard to create a back seat space that would allow you to cross your legs in the back seat. Now, that is impressive. They have accomplished that. Even a big guy like me, I can cross my legs in the back seat. The problem is that the seat's not that comfortable, but there is a lot of space. Let's go back up to sport. Hear the whir? Hang on. What is that, a Jetson noise? It has that kind of sound to it, doesn't it? It's a 1960s sci-fi noise. It works. In sport mode, the ride feels the tiniest bit more stiff. The interesting thing about the ride here is that most of the time, and I am going to go back down into standard, most of the time the ride, it's nicely compliant. It feels soft, and the car feels a little bit loose and rolly in a way that is kind of pleasing and says, oh, this rides pretty well. Unless you find the exact wrong combination of tarmac, and of course, depending on where you live in the nation, your roads are going to vary. If you find the wrong combination of tarmac, this will actually porpoise down the road if it hits undulations in the pavement, and that's really disappointing to have discovered, but it is something that happens now and then. I happen to find it on one segment of road here in our Park City area, and everywhere else it's ridden very, very well. You're setting up a table at a hiking spot. Okay. Hang on, I'll do it one more time for you. That's all of it. It doesn't like going around a corner like that. I mean, it did it just fine. You notice the tires didn't even squeal, but it is that heavy, tippy ride that you get from a large CUV. It has that kind of ride because, of course, this is 5,000 pounds and a high ride height. So those are the consequences from anybody. That's not a Nissan reality. That's just a CUV reality. So in sport mode, with the E-step on, how much single pedal fun can I have here? Give me all the noise, give me all of the auto braking. And that's just me pressing in to the pedal and letting off. Now, range on this is a little under 300 miles. If you get the loaded front-wheel drive version, you can get about 304 miles for your full charge. This has a little bit less. This will charge as fast as 130 kilowatts, which is great. We charged it at our fastest local charger, which was only 50. Paul got about 75% of the battery charged in about 90 minutes. Now, that's not great, but it is at least passable. It's much better than just plugging it into your 110 wall socket, or a lot of the chargers around here are only doing 6 kilowatts, and so they're quite slow. It's pretty much just charging it at home. Charging it at home is still the best option for all of these electric cars. If you can set that up and have a wall charger and just plug it in like your phone at night, you won't even notice whether or not you have range, because again, this has still got 61% of the battery and 155 miles of range, which is great for most people's needs most of the time. The Ariya is a good execution. It's got good and bad. I wouldn't say it is a standout.